guest today, our community partner, Celeste Andres, and she is the project director at Kupa Āina. Hopefully you were able to see this beautiful flyer and read a little bit about what she is going to talk about today. The title of that I gave the talk is a uhonua, to farm, feed, heal, and grow. So I'm going to turn it over to Celeste because I think, how many of you know what a uhonua is? It's a place of refuge. It's a place that you can go to and do all of those things and be protected, to farm, feed, heal, and grow. So let's hear how Kupa Āina has been able to do all of those things. I'll turn it over to you, Celeste.
Do you have that slide that I should? Oh, perfect timing. So welcome everybody. I'll try my best. I've never really sit in Zooms too very often. We're usually on Āina, so this was probably something a little bit new for me. So don't mind me if I talk too fast or I'm too nervous. I'm also trying to speak out as much as I can before 3 o'clock. They shoot me in another interview right after back to back, and I just got out of one. So multitasking here with Partners in Development Foundation. So Kupa Āina, if none of you know where they are located, they actually are located on the grounds of Kawailoa, where Kawailoa is on the Olomana Youth Correctional Facility. If you are familiar where that is, we are actually located just below that. Perfect, there you go. So you can see where the Hawaii Youth Correctional Facility, Kupa Āina Farms, is surrounded in red. That is a 5-acre farm of all natural farming. We do not add any chemicals, pesticides, anything onto the farm area. And then just below them, that other grassy area, that's actually Maunawili Elementary. If you can't figure out where this area is, just look at the mountain. That usually helps. So with Kupa Āina, we actually help work with all of those partnership groups that you can see highlighted there, from the correctional facility itself to Kinai Eha, which is a construction, trying to get the kids being in construction union, but these kids come out of incarceration and get put up into that program. And they try to get them in the OSHA certified construction union and work with them. They also come out to the farm and help us out with a few things. In fact, we just had them surprise visit yesterday. Halekipa is a sex trafficking area. Then we have Rise, which is our homeless youth. Olomana School, that is in the beginning of our partnership with us as well. And so this whole entire Kawailoa campus works together on helping all of our youth in every different aspect, every different area. And that's basically what we're building here, that partnership here at Kawailoa. But Kupa Āina is specifically leased out to Partners in Development Foundation, which is the company that I work for, to create that uhonua, that sanctuary place for all ages. So we do have a lot of visitors that come to Kupa Āina and ask us what is the age cap. We do not put an age cap because there's no such thing with a uhonua of putting that age cap in place of, telling people no, they're not allowed. A uhonua should be open to all. And so that's the one thing we do at Kupa Āina, is provide that. So within that 5 acres, we try to farm as much as possible. If no, you can go to the next slide.
Whoa, back.
It's okay. So a lot of things at Kupa Āina is really like an outdoor classroom. This has been kind of almost like a dream come true for me since I was in intermediate school, of having this idea of having an outdoor classroom for all different aspects, all different reasons, whether it's education, whether it's teaching our community how to do basic farming to grow for themselves in order to be sustainable, whether it's assisting with any WCC college courses to workforce development program that I actually just started in place last December. And that workforce program, I'll explain a little bit later. It's in the slides as well. Doing community workshops with other community organizations like Hawaii USA Federal Credit Union, to American Savings Bank, to Strive Hawaii Athletics Volleyball Team, to even our own Partners in Development Foundation branches of things like Tutu and Me, Napono. So if you're familiar with Partners in Development Foundation, they do have the well-known Tutu and Me program. So their keikis do come out to Kupa Āina as well to help educate their kids, or just to be outside and inspire them to become hopefully future farmers, or just to fall in love with Āina again. A lot of that disconnection we have growing up of not being raised in our culture is kind of being put back at Kupa Āina and being taught to our youth to just be inspired to be out in the open, in the grassy areas, and sometimes just see plants that they've never seen grown before that actually can be grown on our Aina. And then we try to implement our moon phases, why we try to educate a lot, especially the older teenage high school kids. We try to implement the moon phases that we try to follow on the farm and go according to it. And you can see the difference. We've actually planted 4 different fields at 4 different moons. And it's funny how the full moon was planted last, but it was growing the largest. So just putting the visual there for a lot of these youth, especially those that are troubled youth on Kawailoa campus, it does make a big impact to see the visuals compared to, you know, the writing book. They're not really school ready kids. They're more of like they're hands-on. They always want to be outside in the field and taking on to the tangible learning. So that's what we're trying to create there at Kupa Āina. And then feeding our community in need. We're constantly taking the food off of the 5 acres, producing what we can, and taking it and donating it, because we are in state agriculture land. We can't sell anything at the time until we get a permit, which is what we're in the process of trying to do. But until then, a lot of our food that we're learning and teaching the kids how to grow, we're taking it and donating it to a lot of our nonprofit organizations or community members. And a lot of them are with either Partners in Development, Kawailoa campus, or I think it's on the next slide. I'm sorry, go ahead. You flip over to the next slide. Yeah, so this is just what we actually have in the ground right now. That is the list of everything that we have in the ground at Kupa Āina. And it does get donated to a lot of nonprofits. I believe we gave some bananas to like Key Project. There was also some kalo leaves that they asked for their kupuna program to be put in place. So we will assist as best as possible. But I've only been at Kupa Āina for the past year now. So a lot of revamping was done within the past year of trying to reach out now to more to our community. Now that our foundation has been a little bit more set at Kupa Āina, we know what we're going to plant, when we're going to plant them according to our seasons and our moon phases, that we'll actually have more of a list of what we will produce and take that to our outreach coordinator and start outreaching to our community of who would be in need of these things that we are growing, as well as teaching our youth how to grow these things. So all different types of stuff that is being pushed at Kupa Āina, and lots more coming. This is just what we have right now. So we have a projection, about another month or 2 of adding more on top of this list as well. We can go ahead to the next slide. And so these are lists of places that we have given within the past, I would say 6 months, have pushed all of these places out. And there are more to come, plenty more to come, that we're trying to make sure our food is here. But we are also trying to create a cooking course for our youth, that once we actually do an actual farm to table course of learning how to grow our food is probably more the easy side, but teaching the kids what to do with this Aina food afterwards is kind of another thing we're trying to offer there at Kupa Āina, is building that curriculum of taking that food from the Aina, putting it straight onto, whether it's a pan, a dish, something that we can do. And I believe, Noi, your son was also involved in the beginning of that, of just taking sweet potato, you know, cooking the sweet potato, making the uala leaves as well, and then bringing in fish off campus to just kind of make the dish a little bit more complete. So we've expanded Kupa Āina from where we used to be was only kalo and bananas, and we have now, as you see in the list prior, it's just expanded so much more to make sure that we think of our dish, we think of our plate, yeah. And so when you think of your plate, you don't only want banana and kalo. We kind of want to stretch out the varieties. We want to make sure we have that balanced, nutritious meal. And so that's what we're trying to make sure that we can provide at Kupa Āina. But then it's also learning the different techniques of planting as well. That, you know, some plants feed off nitrogen, some plants take nitrogen. So it's kind of like doing that cold planting of balancing, and then also being able to use cover crops to make sure we're getting nitrogen put back in the soil naturally, and we're not causing any chemicals to be put into our soil. So I think that's next slide.
One thing that's really cool about this list is on the bottom, it says we're currently seeking more food donation locations, which is, you know, you don't see that sign very often. And that's awesome that you're trying to expand that and share even more with the community. That's awesome. Okay.
Is there a way I could talk to you about that? About Hockey
Yes.
Academy here in Kaneohe?
Yes,
We have no
definitely.
food, no lunch, and this is a charter school, Hawaiian
Yes,
based.
I'm actually familiar with Hakipu'u. I actually had volunteered there before with Uncle Alan before he left. So I am definitely familiar with Hakipu'u, which is right across the Winter Community College.
That would be
Um,
awesome.
yeah. And so the last thing I wanted to bring was the Ho'okuhua program. This is the workforce development program that I started back in December at Kupa Āina, of making sure when we work with our incarcerated youth, especially, that they're building a lot more than just their resumes when they work out with us for workforce development. We actually work with the kids to start with their internal selves of recognizing simple things like when we do kilo. If you don't know what kilo is, that's basically observations. And when we take them on the field, we want them to see the little changes within the plants. And while they're learning these little techniques, we flip it and allow it to make them realize it's them. Yeah. So when they see a plant and it's suffering or it needs some kind of nutrients, we want to symbolically make them known that it's them. Yeah. So when you see these things happening on the field, don't forget to look back at yourselves, that you can recognize these things in yourself too. If you can recognize it in a plant, be mindful, you got to be able to flip it back and use it yourself. So to kind of think out of the box. A lot of times when we're put through the DOE system when we're younger, we're taught to think one direction. So a lot of things that we do in this whole Kohua program is allow them to expand that knowledge, expand your brain and think out of the box, be able to make sure that, you know, even though we're harvesting kalo, for example, we can harvest kalo, but it takes, you know, the harvesting to pull out, the prepping to prep it for a huli, and then also to prep the kalo to be clean and to be ready to given out. But they don't realize that while they're doing that, they're learning organization skills. And it's something that can be put onto the resume. So we're kind of making them be able to flip the mentality that a lot of times they're taught when they're younger days, to be able to make sure they can do it within the time frame that we give them. And when they do that, hey, guess what? Now you learn time management skills. Yeah, so a lot of things you do on Aina, a lot of people forget and underestimate a farmer. And so what we're teaching here at Kupa Āina is stop. Don't start underestimating a farmer. A farmer can teach you 10 times more than what I think anybody else could teach you. There's so many life skills and life lessons to learn, as well as the mental side of it, the mental rehabilitation of just being out in Aina and teaching these kids what Malaima Aina really is, the reciprocal relationship we must have in order to be pono with ourselves as well as Aina. It has to be a back and forth relationship. And that's why when we have our kupunas telling us to always give back, always come with a gift, this is why it's that same symbolic relationship we have with Aina. Every time you go to Aina, a lot of people tell us, oh, we want to come out to Kupa Āina, we want to volunteer and give back to our community. But I can guarantee by the time they leave, they realize that no, it went back and forth. You came to the Aina, you helped get things done, but at the same time, they're healing. When they're pulling weeds with us, they don't realize they're meditating in their brain. They feel a little more cleansed. They feel more happier. So it's just making them realize that these little things we take for granted are right there in front of your face. Just have to be out there, get out and being with Aina and just using that to heal, but also to heal Aina to remember that we kind of keep putting concrete over it. We kind of have to make sure that we got to give back to Aina, and Aina will always give back to us, whether it's food, whether it's healing, whether it's the mental side of it, it's all there. And we try to make sure that these kids pick up some of that while they're working with us. The only downfall we have is our kids are slowly shrinking the amount of kids that we can bring out, only because there's a lot of programs being changed and updated. And prior, I think 2010, they had about I would say about 220 something youth incarcerated, but I think it's down right now. I believe we have about 12 to 16 youth in the facility. And this is the only youth prison that is on top of the whole entire state. This is the only prison that is on Hawaii, is Hawaii Youth Correction Facility.
So that's a good thing, right?
Yes, yes. but it makes it a little difficult to build our program to show
True.
the changes, because this has only been since December that doing the actual assessment on these youth is a little bit difficult from where people want to see it, because they want to see the paper, they want to see the trail, they want to see the document. But at Kupa Āina, the real assessment is seeing them visually, having them be on the Aina, seeing the changes on them, and even the little things they do. Like, for example, we had a Kinaiha program out there, and someone noticed that one boy was with a machete by himself, but there were also 5 boys that were on the other end. And I told her, because one was in his nature. He was right where he needed to be at home. He was minding his own business. They've never seen him like that. So it was showing you that he was home, he was comfortable, that he could go on his own, compared to the rest of the 5 boys that were sitting there and having conversation. It's not the element that they were used to. And sure enough, come to find out, that boy was from Chuk. And that's the thing he's done since he was little, was machete in the bush, literally. So he really enjoyed actually being out there. And then we took the before picture, showed them the after picture, and they were like amazed. And so we wanted to remind them by doing that. A lot of these kids are told they're no good. They're not great at things. They're stupid. So much negative things that we try to change their mentality of showing them the before and after pictures of the things they cleared out, or what they planted, or what they weeded, so they can see the impact that they do, the positive impact that they do. So hopefully it will change their mentality to remember what they actually contribute to the world, what they can do, but they gotta see it. We try to remind them that you're the only one that can change that perspective on you. No one else can actually change the way you think about yourself but you. If you start to feel suicidal, that's because you control that suicidal to happen. If you think of something negative, that's because you decided to look at it in a negative way. Change that. How do we do that? Start by the little things of just weeding. Take a before picture, and all of you guys can do this. Go weed your yard if you have one. Start off taking that before picture, weed out as much as you can an hour, and then step back and reflect on it. And we should be doing this in our normal lives as well. You take that after picture and you look at it, the accomplishment, the self-worth that these kids have after looking at their work, they're so proud. And I always try to make sure before they leave Kupa Āina, remember that and keep building on that, because that is you. That is you individually. That's you building upon yourself and remembering where you came from, which is back on Aina. And sometimes these kids feel so grateful and accomplished that they did that. They just need these reminders. But it's not only the youth. That's the thing that just makes it so much more fun. It's we've even had to deal with community groups. So groups of all ages, from younger kids at the age of 6 or 7 are seeing this too. And then our older, I can't say old, but sorry, but more of our elders have come by and kind of was in shock of realizing that I never realized this is why my grandparents always stuck me in the Aina and told me pull weeds, that it was something meant for me to just de-cleanse what I was getting frustrated with. So it's good to see even our older folks being back in Aina and remembering why their parents or grandparents had put them back in Aina as kind of a scolding mechanism, but it really wasn't. And so that's kind of partially of why Kupa Āina is also trying to help get rid of the incarceration view. Instead of incarcerating our youth, we are trying to fight to get rid of incarceration for youth and start creating programs like this to help our youth build and to grow instead of incarcerating them, because it doesn't do any difference. It actually causes more recidivism in the future. And so that's just a bottle of medicine of where Kupa Āina is going in our direction, where we're moving our direction as well, is focusing on our incarcerated youth, but that will not cap us off as a uhonua sanctuary space. We are pushing to reach all different types of people.
Awesome. That's so awesome. When you were talking about the young people and how they would come and work the land and then leave and feel so different. I know some of you saw the little note I put on the email that was sent out about how my son went and volunteered. He was only volunteering at Kupa Āina for like 2 weeks, and his whole demeanor changed to be much happier in the way that he carried himself. He sometimes gets down because he's really, really emotional and sensitive. He's 14, well, 13. almost 14. And his whole attitude changed. And one word that he always would say is, "I felt so productive today." and it made me reflect on, well, do I need to give you more things to do? Obviously. But it was what he was doing that made him feel so productive, because it's very visual, right? It's not like you can sit on a computer for 4 hours in the classroom and you don't really see everything that you accomplished. It still looks like a laptop. But when you're on the land, it's like, wow, you can see a difference from before and after. So I love that idea. I also have taken groups to the land, to the Aina, and felt as though they needed some kind of talk story, kuka conversation afterwards, because they were just kind of tripping out about how all of the emotions that were brought up, you know, remembering when they were kids and remembering what it felt like to get dirty and all of this stuff that we just don't connect with anymore happening. So awesome. Does anybody have any comments or questions that they want to put out into the world?
I think I've heard this. Hey, Celeste, I heard this program when I took natural resources back in Colorado.
About Kupa Āina?
I heard something like Kupu.
Oh, maybe.
Okay. We do get mixed up with Kupu cohorts or Kupu's program, which is a conservation program.
We learned about it. We did some kilo journals back in high school, and we were working in the lollies. It reminds me of it.
Okay. So that's a completely different program. Their Kupu's program is actually, they do have youth that come out to us once or twice a month. So they do work with us, but their focus is more on conservation, getting the youth to be out in Aina. But they do have a DOE cohort program now, and that cohort program is partnering with us to help them learn a little bit more, because a lot of their youth that they're bringing to us is second language youth. So they have a little harder time being out. So they're more hands-on experience learning.
Oh, that's what I have to do. Watch resource classes, do some hands-on stuff.
That's cool.
Thanks for bringing it up.
You're welcome.
Anybody else? Thank you, Taylor.
Celeste, I really want to push for Hakipu'u. They're literally a school that's going down, and I really don't want to. I hope that it can grow into a school that can almost be like a high school for the Hawaiian immersion, Keiki, or like you right now, they have like a lot of IEPs or children that are, you know, their mindset isn't the greatest. I'll say it that way. So, and it is very hard to convince them. It's very hard. I'm finding it challenging and sad sometimes and heavy. And we take them to Punalu, a farm we have up there with Berta. I don't know if you guys know her. I'm a maki farmer, one of the only ones here on Oahu. But we take them up there so they can work the land, just like you. Some of the same core values that literally you align. And I just know that you could do so good over there. I know if you work with that kind of challenging youth, I know that you would be of great value here. And I feel like this was just meant to be. So I want to keep this connection and see if we can go further.
Yeah. So if anything, you can reach our Kupa Āina phone if you want to take this down. 808-490-1444. Again, that's 490-1444. That's our Kupa Āina cell phone number. We may not answer it first because we're on the farm and we are working in Aina. We try to keep our cell phones off of us. But just leave a message and we will call you back, or you can text that number as well. Or you can reach me by email, candres@pidfoundation.org. So either way you communicate with me, we can definitely have our outreach coordinator or myself even reach out to you and see how we can make a collaboration. With Partners in Development Foundation, we are always constantly making partnerships and collaboration, of course. So definitely something you can do, whether that is including us coming out to you folks to give a kuka talk, but it's always best, we like to use our Aina as the direction. Just like you said, there's a purpose and reason why you are here. That is the biggest thing we push at Kupa Āina too, that every person comes to our āina for a purpose. Whether we can figure that out by the time they leave, or we can figure that out later on down the road, they are there for a reason. And I would say no group is exactly alike. So the teachings and the talks that we have with each group is never alike. It is literally not like DOE. It's not set with a curriculum. It is pretty much set to fit the group that is coming and its purpose. So we can fluctuate whether they want to focus more on education, community engagement. Some of it is also relationship building with work programs. So like American Savings Bank came all together and just wanted a day to hang out with their group to build that relationship with each other. That is definitely also something we have done as well. So it fluctuates, it changes. And if it's for youth bonding and building, that is another thing we can also do at Kupa Āina. But we allow them to just work in the field, be themselves. That's the best thing about being the uhonua, is just letting the kids be themselves for at least the first hour. And then we'll pull them off Āina to take a drink of water, use their restroom, collaborate a little, and then we'll put them back to work just to see if their perspectives have changed after they were talked about what happened. So it's a really good engagement.
Hey, Celeste, aloha, this is Catherine. I want to thank you for this presentation. This is really, what an amazing community resource. I actually just relocated to Hawaii from Northern Virginia, Washington, D.C. area. So I'm kind of getting my bearings. I'm a human resources professional by trade, and I love this slide here where you talked about really, taking the skills that you're teaching and farming. I came from nonprofit, management, HR, and it's hard to get people to think about transferable skills. So I love that you take that example of all the different things that farming involves, and how the examples you gave of how they represent these skills listed on this list. So I just, what a great way to, I think it's a great message. And I just want to say, I learned a lot just hearing you talk about the impact this has had on the youth there. And I'm so excited that you're expanding it to other situations, people in different situations and other ages, because, how many of us have needed to reconnect with, our background? Yeah, exactly. The therapy. How many of us in the workplace, I see it all the time, you're burnout, you just need an easy win. You need to kind of reconnect with something and rebuild your confidence. So what a great way, a great way to give people the opportunity to do that. So thank you. I'm enjoying the presentation.
You're welcome. Rob?
Raised his hand.
Yeah, I didn't want to just jump inside, but I just wanted to say thanks so much, Celeste. What a great grassroots program. Again, something that we dearly need, in our communities. I'm part of the advisory council for the Youth Challenge Academy out at Kalaeloa. Yeah, we came out for a visit 2 years ago, and I tell you, we walked away just blown away. Yeah.
2 years ago, I was only there since September of last year.
Might have been about a year and a half ago, 2 years. But we got to go on the āina and talk story with everybody and just watch and learn. Totally taken aback by the incredible work you folks do out there. I'm just curious, is the YCA still involved, or have they gotten that? The Youth Challenge Academy? Are they involved with any of your programs out there?
Not yet. Our outreach coordinator would definitely like to reach out to you folks eventually. She just got into her position about last month. So she's trying to get settled and help me reorganize a few things and get in on our grants. Making sure we meet our grant expectations first, and then we're going to start branching out past Kawailoa and reaching out to our community. And that's definitely take my number down. We'll reach out and we can definitely touch bases. A lot of people tell me that they've been to Kupa Āina before. I would always recommend that if they weren't there when I was there, revisit. It has changed tremendously. It's a lot more, I would say, a little bit more organized, but also In the past, they've seen a lot more of kalo and bananas. And then, of course, you've seen the list earlier. It has expanded hugely. We do have our farm manager there, which is Anthony DeLuz, if any of you are familiar with him. He actually has another farm that's right behind us, Sumida Farms in Pearl City. And he does great work. He learned from Uncle Jerry Konanui, one of his alaka'is. And so he is been farming for over 16 plus years, and he has so much knowledge in EK that I'm fortunate to weirdly be his boss, but also like to learn under the direction of him, and has taught me so much as well. And so I'm kind of like, it's funny, I'm like, feel like I'm living my childhood dream to be able to run my own farm, get the own programs running, and then learning from myself at the same time. So that to me is just mind-blowing to know I can learn to sustain myself as well for my own family of 5 kids. So to not have to go through the grocery stores and just pick things off of our own farm and take them home, so blessed. So yes, please reach out. We definitely do want to make more connections. I would definitely highly recommend to do a revisit, as things has changed a lot.
Will do. Mahalo. Really appreciate all you folks do.
Oh, thank you.
Total chicken skin moment to think that you're living your dream. That is so awesome.
Yeah.
Doing what you always wanted to do is great. Anybody else have any comments or questions for Celeste?
Hey Celeste, I feel like this program is very engaging. Mahalo for sharing your presentation, because a lot of the stuff that you mentioned in this presentation I learned back in, like what I mentioned earlier, back in natural resources.
Oh, yes.
And I also learned some of my other, since I go to school here at WCC, and then this definitely ties to my major, since I'm striving for my major being a science field, so it definitely will tie in.
Oh,
I'm
wow.
going for
Great.
my mind of arts, so thanks for pointing all of that out.
Oh, yeah,
It looks
no
very
problem.
interesting.
I am actually a Windward Community College graduate as well as myself. Went for the liberal arts and double majored in Hawaiian studies. That's why I actually know Colette. So hi, Colette. Nice to see you. Somewhat.
No, because my major's botany, and I'm going for
Tina
here
Michael is
for my science
awesome.
degree. Yeah.
So it is definitely take what you learn and expand with it. Don't think that you have to settle for a job that's already made. Take the challenge and find something that you are passionate in doing, and sky is the limit. You just go with it and keep going. So
right.
don't only think you need the college degree to do it. It's definitely a huge dream come true to just create a program like this. So that was the big plus.
Awesome. Am I freezing?
Here a little bit. I thought I wasn't gonna get this dream come true. I didn't think how I knew how to start it. And as always, Akua blessed me and just dropped this whole program right in front of me. And my CEO said, do what you will, make your dream come true. And I was like, what? So I picked it up, went with it, and this is how it's been since the past year. September 1st made my first year as a project director with Kupa Āina. So a lot has changed. So it's pretty awesome.
Awesome. It was requested in the chat for me to put your email address. So I'm trying to look it up, but can you just tell me it again? Much easier. C. Andres.
Bam.
At
oops, sorry. ANDRES, sorry.
not candles. There you go. Andres at PID Foundation.
There you go.
.org.
It's in the message.
Org.
Yeah.
Does that look right?
Yes.
Not candles, huh? I think you have one more slide.
Yeah. And this was just to put it out there because we do have room to hire youth. We prefer to kind of aim for those kids that's on the Kawailoa campus, but because it's so kind of minimal now and a lot of kids are moving around, we just put it out there that we are actually hiring as farm interns. So something kind of new brought up on board. We had openings for 5. One person did take one of the positions, so they are 4 other farm intern positions that are still open, and you can go on the PIDF website if you are interested in applying. You can see we do a variety of different things, so there's no limit. And we just want to help youth, especially those that are currently at Windward Community College, to expand their knowledge as farmers, make use of their degrees that they have, put it into play, and just take it as a learning experience. It's just like a great job to kind of be out there and be yourself and work with youth, and how we can work with just sometimes it's mostly just yourself, just learning basic skills to farm and plant and use that collaboration of working with youth. So if you are interested, it is out there. We just wanted to bring that to your folks' attention. And there is part-time or full-time positions. So they were created to make the youth have an alternative of working space, especially when they are with Kina Eho program. They do live on site. They do have housing for their youth. RISE also has living space for their youth. And of course, the facility also has to house their youth as well. Not by choice though.
Right. This is true. Anybody else? I think seeing this first slide really gave me a, because the first time I went there, I got totally lost and went the wrong way. But anyway, it really gives a nice overview of all of the different programs that are housed on that large area. You don't even know that it's there. And then you guys also work with the elementary school too, yeah?
Actually, my son currently goes there right now. They are trying to reach out to us to do a collaboration. They do have a little planting area that they have fenced in that we actually have reached out to see if we can help them clean that up and get it started for them. So that's gonna hopefully take place soon. We're just waiting for the reach back from them. So it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, the little ones checking out the land as well. Welcome all of you who just kind of rolled in. We're kind of at the Q&A portion of Celeste's talk. So if you have any questions, I can slowly go through the slides just in the background. And you can kind of get an idea of what she was talking about. An incredible program that talks about, what they do at Kupa Āina. And one of the things that I really connected with when my son was there was how he got so excited about having a resume at the age of 13. And because he found out that he could work if I gave him permission to work. I'm like, your job is school right now. But anyway, he's all ready to fill out his resume. He actually put it on my Google Calendar. Do resume with Kamali. And it's because he went to Kupa Āina and he found out that he could, use all of these, where's that slide? All of these things that he learned and he did while he was there on the farm. And now he's like, well, now I have more than just one thing on my resume. I can put all of these other things. So that was a kind of a cool revelation. And I can imagine those who are the programs that you work with that are on your āina, having a resume and something that they can, leave the incarceration that they're in with can be so incredibly empowering. And empowering is why I do what I do. And I think all of us as people who teach, as Pomo, we want to empower those that we speak with. And this is just, besides the human resource thing, this entire program is very, very empowering. And I think that's great.
So it's not only just farming too. I also like to push that. I used to work with Kalavaya Peter Moore at the Hawaiian Hale area at Windward Community College. So we did a lot of hale building with Kalavaya. And the same aspects can apply to hale building. When you're learning hale building, you're learning architectural work. So you can actually add that onto your resume. So learning how to take the cultural lens of things and flipping it to the westernized world is kind of the goal we're going with Ho'okuhua program. It's just flipping and tweaking those words to be like, no, I got those skills. I'm good. I got it. So that's the thing you're trying to push with Ho'okuhua, is trying to change the perspective of view of how Kanaka Maoli look at job applications that we can actually fill that in.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm always saying that, you know, many people for so long, when you would say, okay, I'm majoring in Hawaiian studies, they would look back at you and go, and what are you going to do with that? All you can do is teach, right? And then I'm like, wait a second, you can do way more than that.
That was the biggest challenge of going to school for a Hawaiian studies degree, is constantly everybody kept asking me that, what are you going to do with your degree? And I'm like, I have it in my head, but I cannot tell you because you're not going to get them until I put them in play. So I was always like that since I was little, is let me prove you wrong.
Yeah.
So it was kind of nice to like, okay, yes, I'm going to educate, but not the education you're thinking of. And so putting this program into play was like, oh, this is awesome. It's been nothing but a fun ride to take this and build on it, and then have people like Colette to come back and see me actually put this into play, as well as you, because you've heard it too. And it's just been such an inspiration to just keep going. And then hearing other people that hear about the program be like, that's the same thing I wanted to do. And we try to just bring them back on board and jump with us and just live a dream instead of keep talking about the dream. Let's live it. Let's put it in play. Let's have fun with it. Stop living the westernized way of no can, watch. Exactly. So that's just a change.
Exactly. Yeah. It's awesome. Anybody else before we tie things up?
I got a question. Hey, Celeste. I'm teaching my Hawaiian history course, and I'm thinking of teaching the in-person one next semester. And I was wondering if it's possible to come and visit and, you know, like bring the class one day to just get their hands in the āina. It's one thing to talk about it and show them pictures, but it's quite another thing to actually get dirty and muddy and do the work, huh?
That's the best thing is we're not actually a lo'ista, we're all mala. So it's all dry land. That's the best part. A lot of people don't like to get muddy and dirty because everything is so dry. They won't get as dirty as they thought they would. They're a little dusty, but we do have actually inputted 2 showers, outside showers, where they can rinse off.
So it's possible I could arrange with you to bring my class over? Of
course. Don't even ask. It's uhonua. It is open to all. You just got to make the reservations with us. And
all right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anybody else? I guess not. I guess that is all. That is all. I am totally inspired by Kupa Āina. And it started with my son, so that's kind of cool. Next month or the following month, I'm hoping to have, I'm being inspired by my children this year for Ike Kaiaulu. My daughter did a program with pipes, and it's the internship on Hawaii Island. So I want to tell you all about that. I wanted her to tell all about, but she goes, no, talk to the pipes people. I'm like, okay, we'll talk to the pipes people then. She doesn't want to talk, so whatever. Anyway, so I'm hoping that we can have that happen in the next couple months, but I also want to have Anthony come from Kupa Āina and talk about food security. And because I think that's really important to be talking about food security for us here on the island. So if anybody else, or if Celeste, do you have anything else you'd like to say?
Oh, no, I think I talked way too much.
Anybody? No, it was perfect. We got a really good overview of what Kupa Āina is all about. Anybody else with a question? If not, I hope I will see you next month, all of you, October, the 2nd Friday. I think it's October 13th at 1 o'clock. So have a wonderful rest of your day. Is it the 13th or the 11th?
Yeah, Friday the 13th. Yeah.
Friday the 13th. Right. I will be here with somebody really cool from the community and we can talk story. So thank you all for being here. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Ahui ho.
Good to see you, Celeste.
See you, Celeste.
Bye.
Thank you. Mahalo.